I pushed open my bedroom window and let the cool air hit my face, trying to calm my thoughts. Another normal day, right? I whispered to myself, even though something in my chest felt heavy. Emily's laughter drifted down the hallway and I called out, "Hey are you done with the bathroom? I need it." Yeah, I'm leaving," she said, rushing past me with her usual bright smile. I smiled back, but a small ache formed in my chest. "You're too cheerful today," I teased. She rolled her eyes. "Maybe you're just too serious." Then she disappeared into her room. Downstairs, Liam texted me, "Good morning, love." I smiled and typed back, "Morning. Busy today." He replied a bit, "I'll call tonight." Simple. Sweet. Normal. Later that night, I walked past Emily's door and heard her voice. "No, don't say that. She won't find out," she whispered. I froze. "Liam said he'll handle it." My breath caught. I stepped closer, heart pounding. "Emily." I knocked lightly. Silence. Then her voice, suddenly loud and casual. "Yeah? Wanna see?" When she opened the door, she smiled too fast. "What's up? Who were you talking to?" I asked. "Grace," she said quickly. "She's being dramatic again." "That's so." I tried to sound calm. "Tell her I said hi." "Sure," she said, closing the door again. But the way my name and Liam's had slipped through the crack made my stomach twist. I walked to my room, shut the door and whispered, "You're overthinking." Emily wouldn't. Liam wouldn't. Still, my hands moved on their own. I opened Liam's messages. At first everything looked normal, until I scrolled further. There it was. A chat with someone saved under a random name. But the messages told the truth. "I'll see you tomorrow. Don't worry. She won't be home. I miss you too." I stared at the screen. No, this can't be real. My throat tightened. "Liam? Emily?" "No." My phone buzzed. A message from him, "Good night, love." I almost laughed. "You liar," I whispered, wiping my tears. Grace called me. "Hey, I wanted to ask are you crying?" "I'm fine," I said quickly, forcing my voice steady. "You don't sound fine." I'm tired." I didn't know how to explain a heartbreak I hadn't even confronted yet. "Do you want me to come over?" she asked. "No," I said. "Please. I just need space." After the call, I sat on my bed hugging my knees. Why them? Why the two people I trusted most? I whispered. My chest felt like it was tearing open. But I didn't confront anyone. Not Emily. Not Liam. I wiped my face, stood up and told myself, act normal. Just act normal. You can figure this out. The next morning, Emily cheerfully asked, "Want to go out later?" I forced a smile. "Maybe." Liam texted, "Miss you already." I stared at the message, my hands shaking. "You're going to pretend nothing happened?" "Fine. I can pretend too." I walked downstairs, smiling like everything was perfect, even as my heart cracked with every step. Emily joined me in the kitchen. "You look pale," she said. "Did you sleep?" "Barely," I answered, grabbing a glass of water. "Too many thoughts." "About Liam?" she asked softly. "About life," I said, watching her face carefully. "But I'm fine." "Really? For today I hope so." But inside my thoughts were spinning. How long has she been lying to me? How long have both of them been playing with me? I smiled again, covering the storm inside me. "Let's have a good day, okay?" I tried to act calm even though my hands shook every time I saw Emily and Liam together. Emily asked, "Are you okay?" And I forced a smile. "Just tired," I said, hoping she wouldn't notice the tremble in my voice. Liam stepped into the room and said, "You look pale. Want some water?" "I'm fine," I whispered, even though my stomach twisted when the two of them exchanged a quick look. Grace called me later and said, "You're acting strange. What's going on?" "Nothing," I replied, but she didn't believe me. "You've been distant for days," she said, and I closed my eyes. "I just need time, Grace," I answered, hoping she wouldn't push further. She sighed and said, "If you need me, call. Please." When I hung up, I whispered to myself, why can't I just tell her? Because the truth felt too humiliating to say out loud. The next evening, I heard Emily say softly, "I'll meet you soon." My heart pounded as I followed her outside and stayed hidden behind the bushes. She walked down the street, checking her phone and whispered, I'm here. A car slowed in front of her, and when I saw Liam get out, my whole body froze. You came, Emily said, smiling at him in a way she never smiled at me. Liam touched her arm and said, I told you I would. I covered my mouth to stop a cry as the truth hit me again. Why are you doing this? I whispered to myself as my legs shook. Emily leaned closer to him and said, She has no idea. Liam laughed and replied, She trusts too easily. I felt something sharp inside me, like my own heart was cutting itself. I wanted to scream, to run, to throw something, but I stayed silent. I need proof, I whispered, wiping my tears. I pulled out my phone and recorded their voices as they talked about meeting again. Tomorrow? Emily asked. Same place, Liam said, sounding so calm it made my skin crawl. I slowly stepped back, whispering, How could you both do this to me? My breath shook as I walked home, repeating, Stay calm. Don't break. Not yet. When I entered the house, Emily was already inside, pretending nothing had happened. You're late, she said, acting casual. I took a walk, I replied, trying to hide the shaking in my voice. She nodded and said, You should sleep early. Yeah, I said, staring at her, wondering how she could look me in the eyes. Liam texted me again. I miss you. I stared at the screen and whispered, Liar. I walked to the kitchen where Grace was waiting for a snack we planned to share. She looked at me and said, You look like you saw a ghost. I'm just tired, I answered, hoping my voice didn't crack. Grace frowned and asked, Did Liam say something? No, I said quickly, almost too fast. She crossed her arms and said, You're hiding something. Please don't push, I whispered. She hesitated before saying, Fine, but I'm here if you need me. I nodded and said, I know. When she left, I leaned against the counter and whispered, I can't tell anyone yet. The truth felt too sharp, too raw, too painful to share. I walked to my room and stared at the ceiling, repeating, I need answers. But answers meant watching them, listening to them, and hurting even more than before. So I told myself I would stay silent, stay patient, and keep looking for the truth they tried to hide. I pushed open the cafe door without thinking, just wanting a quiet place to breathe. But the moment I stepped inside, I froze. Emily, I whispered. She was sitting with Liam, their heads close together. They both jerked up when they heard my voice. Liam's eyes widened and Emily's mouth fell open. What are you two doing here? Emily stood up fast. It's not what you think, she said, but her voice cracked. Liam rubbed his forehead and muttered, I didn't mean for this to happen. My chest tightened. So it is something? They looked at each other, and that silence told me more than anything they could say. Emily reached for me. Please let me explain. Explain what? I asked. Why you're meeting my boyfriend behind my back. Why you're sitting here like this is normal. Liam sighed. We didn't want to hurt you. I laughed, a small broken sound. You already did. Emily whispered. I never meant for it to go this far. So it did go somewhere, I said. Thank you for confirming. Liam stepped closer. I care about you. I just got confused. Confused. I repeated. You call sneaking around with my sister confusion? Emily wiped her eyes. I'm sorry. I know this looks bad. It doesn't look bad, I said. It is bad. People in the cafe were starting to stare. Liam whispered. Can we talk outside? No, I said, my voice shaking. I'm done talking. Emily grabbed my wrist. Please don't walk away like this. Let go, I whispered. She hesitated, then released me. Liam said softly, I never wanted to hurt you. You keep saying that, I replied. But you still did. Emily whispered. Can we fix this? There's nothing to fix, I said. You made your choice. Liam opened his mouth, but I turned before he could speak. Save it. I don't want excuses. I walked out of the cafe, forcing myself not to cry until I was outside. When the door closed behind me, the first tear slid down my cheek. I whispered, How could they do this? I walked until my legs ached. I didn't care where I was going. My mind kept replaying their faces. Guilt on Emily, panic on Liam. I hated that part of me still wanted them to deny everything. But they hadn't. They didn't even try. When I finally reached home, I shut my door and collapsed on the floor. I'm such an idiot, I whispered. The words felt heavy. Why did I trust them? My chest burned as I cried, the kind of crying that makes it hard to breathe. Every time I tried to stop, another wave hit me. Emily, why? I whispered into my pillow. Liam, why? Hours passed. I didn't move. My face felt swollen, my throat raw. But somewhere in that pain something shifted. I sat up slowly. My voice was hoarse when I whispered, they don't get to break me. I thought about Emily's guilty eyes, Liam's weak excuses. A fire sparked inside me, small but real. I won't let this destroy me, I said. I wiped my face and looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red, my cheeks wet, but something inside me felt different. Stronger. Sharper. If they think I'll fall apart, they're wrong, I whispered. The betrayal hurt more than anything I had ever felt, but it also awakened something deep in me. Something that refused to stay weak. They put the knife in my back, I said softly, but they're going to regret it. I lay back on my bed and stared at the ceiling, letting the truth settle deeper. I wasn't the same girl I had been that morning, and I knew I would never be her again. Pain changed me, sharpened me, pushed me into someone stronger. I breathed out slowly and whispered, this is only the beginning. For me now. I knew the betrayal ran deeper when my mother asked, why have you been so rude to Emily lately? I stared at her and said softly, what are you talking about? She sighed and replied, she told us you've been snapping at her for no reason. My chest tightened as I whispered, that's not true. Liam texted me that afternoon saying, we need to talk. I typed back, there's nothing left to say. He answered, you pushed me away. You created this distance. I felt my hands shake as I replied, stop blaming me for what you did. When he typed another excuse, I finally blocked him without hesitation. That evening my father pulled me aside and said, your sister is worried about you. She says you've been acting strange. I stared at him and forced a breath. Dad, Emily isn't telling you the truth. He frowned and asked, then why would she lie? I whispered, because she doesn't want you to see what she's doing. He looked confused and said, you girls need to fix this. I almost laughed. I'm trying, but she's not. He stepped back, clearly unsure who to believe. That hurt more than anything. I walked away before my voice broke and whispered to myself, even my own parents don't see me. Grace called me later and said, tell me what's happening. You're scaring me. I hesitated before whispering, Emily is lying about me. She stayed quiet for a moment and said, I don't know what to believe. She told me you were pushing everyone away. My voice cracked as I answered, I'm trying not to fall apart. Then Grace said, Noah thinks you're stressed. He said we should take you out. I sighed and replied, I don't want to pretend everything's fine. She whispered, I miss you. I just don't know whose side to take. I closed my eyes and said, you don't need to pick a side. Just don't leave me alone. She said softly, I won't. Her voice shook, and for a second I believed her. When the call ended, I leaned against the wall and whispered, everything is falling apart. I felt myself slipping into a darkness I didn't choose. But then a thought formed, quiet, small, but powerful. If Emily wants to destroy me, I said, she won't win. I walked into the living room and my mother asked, are you avoiding your sister? I forced a steady breath and said, I just need space. She replied, Emily says you're shutting her out. My jaw tightened. She's not telling you everything. My mother frowned and I added quietly, please stop believing everything she says. My father looked up from the couch and said, maybe you two should talk it out. I shook my head and whispered, talking won't fix what she's done. He stared at me like he didn't understand. I added, I'm trying to keep myself together. His expression softened, but he said nothing, and that silence cut deeper than any words. I went to my room and closed the door, pressing my back against it. I won't let her break me, I whispered. My phone buzzed with another message from Liam, but I deleted it without opening it. I stared at my reflection and said, you're stronger than this. You have to be. My chest still ached, but a small spark inside me pushed back against the darkness. I'll rise, I whispered, even if it takes everything I have left. I breathed deeply and whispered, this pain won't defeat me. I'll become stronger, No matter what she tries today too. I slammed my bedroom door and leaned against it, breathing heavily. Why can't you just leave me alone, Emily? I shouted into the empty room. My voice echoed back at me. A quiet knock made me tense. It's me, Grace's voice said softly. I whispered, not now. She pushed the door open a little. I can't stop thinking about you. You're hurting and I don't know how to help. I don't need help, I said, my voice trembling. I need them to stop. Grace stepped closer. You mean Emily? I closed my eyes. And Liam? And everyone who thinks they can walk over me. Grace nodded gently. Then let's focus on what you need. Forget them for a while. I opened my eyes. How? I know someone, Grace said. My cousin Daniel has a small marketing firm. He's looking for someone organized and smart. I can set up a meeting for you. I shook my head. I don't know if I can. Stop doubting yourself, she interrupted. This is for you. Not them. Not Emily. Not Liam. The next morning I met Daniel. Hi, I'm Daniel, he said, smiling warmly. I'm glad to meet you, I whispered, still uncertain. You've got potential, he said. I can help you grow here, but you have to trust yourself. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. I'll try. Daniel chuckled. Trying is the first step. Now let's see what you can do. That night, I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes were tired, my face pale, but I said softly, I can't beg for love from people who enjoy hurting me. I whispered, I'm done letting them define me. I spent the next days focusing on work. Daniel gave me small tasks at first, but every time I completed something, I felt a spark inside me. Grace called each night. How's your first week? She asked. Exhausting, I said, smiling faintly. But good. See, she said. You're already stronger. One evening Daniel asked, do you want more responsibility? I hesitated. I think so. Good, he said. You're ready. I whispered to myself, I am ready. Every day I started noticing changes. I walked taller, spoke clearer, laughed a little more. The fire inside me grew, faint at first, then brighter. Grace said, you're glowing. This is the real you. I smiled, whispering, I'm finally finding myself. One night, after another text from Emily filled my phone with excuses and apologies, I didn't respond. I stared at her messages, then deleted them. I don't need this, I whispered. Not anymore. Daniel called that evening. You did great today, he said. I can see the difference. I laughed softly. It's because I'm finally doing this for me. You're unstoppable, he said. I leaned back in my chair and whispered, for the first time, losing people doesn't feel like failure. It feels like freedom. Grace texted me later. Proud of you. I typed back thanks. I finally see what's important. Lying in bed that night, I whispered into the darkness. I'm stronger than I was yesterday. I'm not broken. I'm growing. And nothing they do can stop me anymore. A quiet warmth spread in my chest. Pain was still there, lingering, but now it fueled me instead of crushing me. I choose me, I whispered. Always me. I walked into the kitchen and overheard Emily yelling at Mom. You don't understand me, she shouted. I froze. Wow, I whispered to myself. So loud now. Mom replied softly, Emily, calm down. We're just trying to help. I sat at the counter pretending to sip my coffee, but I noticed her face was red and tense. Looks like someone's losing control, I muttered under my breath. Later, Grace called. Have you noticed Emily bragging to people about herself? I swallowed. Yeah, I think everyone's starting to see her differently. She's losing friends, Grace said. Even Liam isn't replying to her messages anymore. I nodded, though she couldn't see me. Good. Let her deal with her mess. Grace hesitated, then said softly, I'm proud of how you're handling this. I whispered, it doesn't feel like pride. Feels calm. Strange, but calm. That afternoon Daniel called. How's your day? Busy, I said, smiling faintly. But good busy. I can tell, he said. You're speaking with more confidence. You're starting to trust yourself. I laughed quietly. I think I finally am. It's weird but freeing. You deserve it, Daniel said. You've been through so much and you're still standing. I whispered, I've never felt like this before. Like I'm really living for me. Emily stormed into the living room that evening. You think you're better than me now? She spat. I looked at her and said calmly, I'm not better. I'm just focusing on myself. Her eyes widened. So, you don't even care about Liam anymore? I shook my head. No. I care about myself more than anyone who doesn't respect me. She tried to argue, but I didn't let her finish. Save it, I said. I've heard enough lies for a lifetime. Later I met Grace for coffee. Emily's really losing it, she whispered, glancing at a group of girls laughing nearby. I smiled faintly. Life does the work for you. I don't have to do anything. She's been bragging about things that aren't true, Grace said. People are starting to notice. I sipped my drink. Karma, huh? I whispered. I guess it's real. Daniel called again. Want to grab dinner after work? Sure, I said. It'll be nice to just talk and not worry about anyone else. You deserve peace, he said softly. I smiled, thinking of the months I'd spent feeling hollow and betrayed. I think I'm starting to feel it, I said quietly. At home, I noticed Emily slamming her books on the table. Why does everything go wrong for me? She yelled. I whispered under my breath. Maybe because of choices you made. I didn't gloat. I just let her frustration fill the room, feeling the calm inside me grow. Later that night I sat on my bed texting Grace. Feel lighter, she replied. That's because you're focusing on you. I smiled at the message. Yeah, I whispered. No need for revenge. Maybe karma really is enough. Daniel messaged me. Proud of you today. I whispered back thanks. I think I finally trust myself again. I leaned back and closed my eyes, breathing deeply for the first time in months. Emily was still struggling, but I felt a strange satisfaction. Life was balancing itself. I didn't have to lift a finger. I can finally breathe, I whispered, letting the peace settle inside me. For the first time I didn't need revenge. Karma was doing the work and I was finally free. I walked into the cafe and felt Emily glare at me from across the room. Oh, look who's smiling, she sneered. I didn't respond. Her eyes narrowed. You think pretending you're strong will make me feel guilty? I sipped my coffee, keeping my face calm. She leaned closer, voice low. You're faking it. I know you're still hurting. I stayed silent. Her frustration grew. Answer me. Why are you acting like everything's fine? I just looked at her. My silence was louder than any words I could say. You think ignoring me will make me disappear? She demanded. I didn't flinch. I whispered to myself, I'm not disappearing. I'm growing. Liam suddenly appeared at the table. Hey, we should talk, he said. Emily rolled her eyes. He's worried about you now, huh? He ignored her. Emily's too much to handle, he muttered, looking at me. I turned away. I'm not listening, I whispered and walked toward the door. Emily's face fell. Wait. Don't just walk away. I didn't stop. I don't need you to understand me, I said quietly as I left. Outside, I leaned against the wall and took a deep breath. She can't control me anymore, I thought. She's the one crumbling. Back inside, Emily muttered under her breath. Why won't she fight back? Grace called me later. You're glowing, she said. Did something happen? I smiled faintly. Nothing happened. I just don't need to react anymore. She's desperate, isn't she? Grace asked. I nodded. And it's strange. I don't hate her anymore. I just feel done. Good, Grace said softly. You're finally free from her. I whispered. Free, but I can see it eating her inside. Her own lies are choking her. Daniel texted me. Dinner tonight? Sure, I replied. Not for her, for me. That night, I walked into the restaurant and saw Daniel waiting. Hey, he said, smiling. Hey, I said, feeling warmth spread in my chest. We talked, laughed a little, and I realized I was actually enjoying myself. I'm allowed this peace, I thought. But then my phone buzzed. Emily. I hesitated. Ignore it, I whispered. She called. I let it ring. She sent a message. You think you're so smart, so strong. I'll show you. I frowned. Show me what? I whispered. I'm not falling. Grace noticed my tense face. It's her again, isn't it? Yeah, I admitted. And she's trying something unbelievable. I didn't panic. I just whispered, "Not today." I refused to let her drag me back. Emily's messages kept coming, desperate and sharp. "Why won't you answer me? You can't ignore me forever." I stared at them, calm. "I can," I whispered. "And I will." For the first time I felt the shift. I was no longer reacting to her. She was flailing, losing control, and I was untouchable. Liam texted again. "She's a mess. Are you okay?" I didn't reply. "Not my problem anymore," I whispered. That night I sat on my bed and whispered into the dark, "She can't hurt me. She doesn't get to." For the first time in months I felt steady. Even her attempts to provoke me couldn't shake me. "I'm done," I whispered again. Done letting anyone control my life. And with that I finally believed it. Emily's desperation was no longer my burden. I walked into the living room and froze. Emily was holding my journal in her hands, flipping through the pages. "Look what I found," she shouted. "All your little secrets. Everyone should know how unstable you are." I stepped forward, voice steady. "Give it back, Emily." She laughed, holding it higher. "Or what? You'll cry? You'll beg?" "I won't," I said calmly. "I'm done begging." She waved it in the air. "You took everything from me. Everything. And now I'm paying the price." I swallowed the lump in my throat. For the first time I didn't cry. I looked at her straight in the eyes. "No, Emily. You lost everything because of your choices, not mine." Her face twisted. "How dare you say that?" I stepped closer. "You lied, manipulated, and betrayed. That's why you're alone. That's why Liam ignored you. That's why people don't trust you anymore." She screamed. "You think you're so perfect now? So strong? You think you won?" I whispered. "I didn't win anything from you. I just stopped letting you control me." Our parents came out of the kitchen, alarmed. "What's going on?" Mom asked. Emily spun around. "She's attacking me. She's insane. You should believe me." Dad frowned. "Emily, calm down." I held my journal close and said softly, "Mom, Dad, look at her. She's angry because she can't manipulate anyone anymore. I didn't do anything to her. She did this to herself." Emily shouted, "No, you're lying. You think everyone will pity you, but I." Dad stepped forward. "Emily, we've been hearing your side for too long. It's time to face the truth." Her face fell. You don't understand me." I shook my head. "I understand more than you think. I understand how far someone can go to hurt the people they claim to love. And I understand I don't have to let it break me." She dropped the journal on the couch, huffing. "You think I don't feel pain? You think I don't care?" I knelt to pick up the journal and whispered, "I do care about me." Emily's lips trembled. "You're just like them now." "Like who?" I asked quietly. "I'm nothing like you. I'm finally free." She opened her mouth, but no words came. Mom stepped closer and said firmly, "Emily, it's over. We see the truth now." I looked at my sister one last time. Her shoulders slumped. For the first time she seemed small, fragile, defeated. I whispered to myself, "Goodbye, Emily. Goodbye to the sister I once loved." I walked away, holding the journal against my chest. Tears filled my eyes, but they weren't from hurt. They were from relief. From letting go. Emily sat on the couch, staring at nothing, her anger spent. She didn't even try to follow me. Outside my room, I leaned against the wall and whispered, "I survived her. I survived this." Daniel called later, checking in. "Are you okay?" I smiled through the lingering tears. "I'm more than okay. I'm alive. And I finally feel free." Grace texted, "You're amazing. I can't believe how strong you are." I typed back, "I just stopped letting her control me. That's all." I sat on my bed and looked out the window, feeling the weight lift off my shoulders. The storm Emily tried to bring into my life had passed, and I was finally standing in the calm. "I let go," I whispered. "Not because I don't care, but because I care about me more." The journal rested in my lap, a reminder of everything I survived. And for the first time I smiled without guilt, without fear, knowing I had reclaimed myself completely. I walked into the kitchen, and Mom looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she said softly. I shook my head. "Don't apologize for believing her. You didn't know the truth," Dad added. "We should have listened to you sooner." I whispered, It's okay. What matters is we know now. Emily sat at the table, scowling, grounded and quiet. This isn't fair, she muttered. Mom said firmly, Emily, you need to face the consequences of your actions. I didn't do anything wrong, she shouted. You lied, manipulated, and hurt everyone around you, Dad replied. It's time to learn responsibility. I felt a small spark of satisfaction, but I didn't gloat. I whispered she chose this. Later, Liam texted me, Can we talk? I messed up. I need you. I stared at the message and whispered, You don't get to talk. Then I deleted it without replying. Grace called. You ignored him? I smiled faintly. I don't need him. Not anymore. She said softly, Good. You've come so far. I whispered, I feel it. I really do. The next day Daniel called. Are you ready for this? For what? I asked, curious. For the promotion. You've worked hard and it's your time. I laughed nervously. I hope I'm ready. You are, he said. I believe in you. At work, my manager said, We've decided to promote you to team leader. I blinked. Really? Yes, he said. You've shown responsibility, skill, and leadership. It's yours. I whispered to myself, I earned this. I did it. That evening I called Grace. I got it, I said, excitement shaking my voice. See, she said, smiling through the phone. I told you. You're unstoppable. I feel different, I admitted. Like I'm finally someone new. You are, she said. You're strong now, stronger than ever before. At home, Emily slouched in the living room scrolling her phone. Liam had stopped contacting her, and the isolation weighed heavily on her. I whispered she has to face her mistakes. Mom walked past me. You're changing. We see it every day. I nodded, a small smile forming. It feels good to be in control of my own life. Daniel called again. Dinner tonight? Absolutely, I said, smiling. I want to celebrate. Grace texted. Proud of you. Really proud. I typed back, thanks. Feels amazing to finally feel like me. That night I sat on my bed, looking at my reflection. The girl who cried herself to sleep seemed so far away. I whispered softly. I survived betrayal, lies, and heartbreak. And now I'm strong. The journal that once felt like a burden sat on my desk, a reminder of how far I'd come. I whispered, I'm not the same girl who let everything break her. Emily's isolation, Liam's absence, and the chaos she caused no longer affected me. I had my own life, my own strength, my own future. I'm finally me, I whispered, closing my eyes. And nothing they do can take this away. Daniel's encouragement, Grace's support, and my own determination had shaped me into someone I barely recognized. A woman capable, confident, unbroken. I stood and stretched, feeling a warmth in my chest. This is just the beginning, I thought. The girl who cried every night is gone. I'm alive. I'm unstoppable. I whispered one last time before bed. I've risen from the ashes of their lies. And I'm never going back. I was at home when I heard Emily screaming in her room. You used me. I trusted you. Liam's voice came through the thin walls. I did what I had to. You were a burden. I pressed my hands to my ears. The sound was sharp, but I couldn't stop listening. Emily shouted. I loved you. And you just. You made choices too, Emily. Liam yelled back. Don't act like you're innocent. I whispered to myself finally. The truth is tearing them apart. The arguing continued for hours. I stayed in my room quietly breathing, feeling a strange mix of relief and detachment. Later, I got a message from Emily. Can we talk? Please. I stared at my phone. After everything? I whispered fine. One last time. I met her at the park. She looked smaller, fragile, her face pale and scared. I'm sorry, she said, voice trembling. I studied her. Her apology didn't feel like guilt. Felt like fear. Fear of what? I asked quietly. Of losing everyone, of losing you, she admitted, tears in her eyes. I nodded slowly. I forgive you, Emily. But I will never trust you again. Her mouth opened like she wanted to argue, but no words came. I whispered to myself, it's done. Later I heard from Grace. Emily said Liam stopped contacting her. She doesn't know what to do. I smiled faintly. Karma. I whispered. It's already done the work. The next morning, I heard Liam yelling over the phone. You're impossible. I can't deal with this anymore. Emily whimpered. I'm sorry, please. I leaned against my doorframe, quietly listening. Neither of them had touched me, but everything I wanted, justice, clarity, the truth, was happening without my involvement. Grace called me. You hear that? They're crumbling on their own. I laughed softly. I don't need to lift a finger. This is perfect. That evening Emily texted again. I know I hurt you truly. Can you forgive me? I typed back, I already did. But trust? Never again. Her reply came almost immediately. I understand. I don't deserve it. I whispered, no, you don't. I sat on my bed, holding my phone, and realized something incredible. The burden I had carried for months, the pain, the betrayal, the heartbreak was finally lifting. For years I had imagined revenge, imagined scenarios where I'd make them suffer. But watching them fall apart without my interference was sweeter than anything I could have done. Daniel called. How's your evening? Perfect, I said. Strangely perfect. You sound happy, he said. I am, I admitted. For the first time I feel like I can breathe. Really breathe. Grace texted again, you're glowing. I typed back, I'm free. That's all I need. The night was quiet. Emily's cries and Liam's anger echoed faintly in my memory, but they felt distant. I whispered to myself the truth was all it took. Karma did its work. I realized something profound. I didn't need revenge, manipulation, or schemes. I just needed patience, clarity, and strength to let go. The justice I had imagined, the satisfaction I craved, had arrived naturally. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes were calm, steady, and bright. The girl who cried for months, who felt powerless, was gone. I whispered, I survived everything they tried to do. And I didn't have to hurt anyone to do it. For the first time I felt whole. The pain still lingered, but it was softer now, like waves fading on the shore. I breathed deeply and whispered, this is freedom. This is my life. Emily's and Liam's downfall was complete, but it wasn't mine to execute. Watching the truth surface, seeing them face the consequences of their own actions, was enough. I smiled a genuine smile and whispered one last time, I'm finally free. And I'm stronger than ever. I woke up to sunlight streaming through my window, warm and soft. For the first time in months, I didn't feel the weight of betrayal pressing on my chest. I stretched, letting the light touch my face, and whispered, I survived. I'm alive. And I'm free. Grace called just after breakfast. Good morning, sunshine. How are you feeling today? I laughed softly. Light. Really light. It's amazing. You've come so far, she said, her voice full of pride. I knew you would. I couldn't have done it without you, I admitted. You never left my side, even when I pushed everyone else away. She giggled. That's what friends are for. But you did the real work yourself. Later, Daniel called. Are you free for lunch? I am, I said, smiling. I could use a break from work, and a little normalcy. We met at our favorite cafe. You look different, he said, studying me. Stronger, I whispered. I finally feel like I belong in my own life. He smiled. I can see it. It suits you. We talked about work, about small victories, and for the first time I didn't feel the need to hide anything. The warmth between us wasn't rushed or forced. It was gentle, like sunlight touching water. I realized I didn't need anyone to complete me. I only needed companionship, support, and honesty. That afternoon, I returned home and saw Emily sitting on the couch, a folder of papers beside her. Therapy reports, from what I could tell. She glanced at me nervously. I took a deep breath and said softly, I hear you've started therapy. She nodded. Yeah, I want to fix myself. I need help. I studied her for a moment, remembering every lie, every betrayal. Then I smiled gently. I hope it helps. Really. But I can't carry your weight anymore. She looked down. I understand. I'm sorry for everything. I whispered. You'll heal in your own time. I'm choosing me now. Later, Grace stopped by. I brought coffee, she said, sitting next to me. You're my constant, I whispered. I don't know how I'd have survived without you. She laughed softly. I'm proud of you. Every step. Every choice. You reclaimed yourself. I held my coffee and looked out the window. The sky was clear, the air fresh. I finally understand something, I said. Losing people isn't always failure. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's the only way to grow. Grace nodded. Exactly. And you grew so much. I leaned back, smiling, letting the warmth settle in my chest. I choose my life now. My career, my friends, my peace. And maybe someday love on my own terms. That evening, Daniel stopped by my apartment. You look happy, he said quietly. I am, I whispered. I don't feel broken anymore. I feel renewed. He smiled, sitting next to me. And that's beautiful to see. We talked quietly, sharing hopes and small dreams. No pressure, no expectations, just presence. I realized that friendship could be enough to heal the cracks left behind. I texted Grace later. I'm finally standing in the sunlight again. Her reply was instant. And you deserve every ray of it. I smiled and whispered to myself. I survived betrayal, lies, and heartbreak. I survived Emily, Liam, and even my own doubts. And now I finally choose myself. The journal I once clutched like a lifeline sat on my desk, a reminder of how far I'd come. Every page of pain, every tear, every sleepless night led me to this moment. Strength, freedom, and clarity. I closed my eyes, letting the sounds of the city hum around me. The weight of the past lifted. I was no longer the girl crushed by betrayal, the one who begged for love and acceptance. I was whole, alive, and ready for life on my terms. I whispered one last time, a promise to myself. I choose me. Today, tomorrow, always. And I will stand in this light, no matter what comes next. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt truly alive. Standing in the sunlight, breathing in the warmth, I knew I had survived everything and emerged stronger, braver, and unbroken. This was my life, my choice, my freedom, and I would never let anyone take it from me again.